Hello, my dear students. It's me, Rita Rani, again with you to explain the second part of chapter number 4, Forest Society and Colonialism, from History section of class 9th. But before moving towards the second part, I would like to request you all, please subscribe our channel, press the bell icon for further notifications. And if you like this video, don't forget to give you a like and share it with your friends also. Thank you. Now, let's move to the second part. My dear students, in the first part, I have already explained what is forest, society and colonialism. What is deforestation and what were the causes of deforestation? I have already explained these things. Here, few points are there. This we have already discussed. Next, rise of commercial forestry. This topic already we have discussed. At that time, new forest laws were made. Forest officer was appointed. Forest department was also made. Forests were completely under the control of British government. And these forest laws affected the life of the people. In this second part, we will continue the same topic, effects of the new forest laws. And in this sequence, how cultivation was affected with these new forest laws. This we will study. At that time, shifting cultivation was badly affected by the new forest laws. Students, I already told you that cultivation was also a cause of deforestation. Shifting cultivation was badly affected by these new forest laws. This cultivation is a traditional agricultural practice which was usually practiced in many parts of Asia, Africa and South America. It had many local names such as lading in Southeast Asia, Tevi in Africa, Bewar, Podu, Jhum, Kumri in India. Now I would like to tell you this shifting cultivation features. In this practice of cultivation, parts of forests to be used for cultivation were cut and burnt in rotation. Means forest people cut the trees of a particular land of forest. And why they cut the trees? Because they wanted to use that plot for cultivation. After cutting the trees, the left portion was burned by them. And after the first monsoon rain, that land was ready for cultivation. Seeds were sown and crops got ready up to the month of October or November. Then crops were harvested. And this system, this tradition of agriculture continued for a few years. After that, that land was left fallow for 12 to 18 years so that again trees can grow on that land. So this was shifting cultivation. In this shifting cultivation, any single crop was not grown. A mixture of crops was grown on those plots. But after making new forest laws, this tradition of agriculture, this was called shifting cultivation, that was banned. So why this shifting cultivation was banned? Here I am explaining. Because European foresters regarded this practice as harmful for the forest, because they thought that the land which is used for cultivation, after burning the forest, cannot grow the trees that have good quality timber for railways. Means for the purpose of cultivation, trees were cut So these foresters believed that the trees which we cut, they are of good quality, and after cultivation, whatever trees are grown on the same piece of land, they were not same trees, or they were not having the good quality timber for railways. So for their timber industry, that shifting cultivation was not good. That is why, for the benefit of their own timber industry, they stopped that shifting cultivation. Another reason was there was a danger of flames spreading and burning valuable timber. Means when forest people burned the left portions of the trees, at that time there was a danger that other areas caught the other areas got that fire also, and means other trees were in danger that they could burn. Apart from this, one more reason was there, that this shifting cultivation made it harder to the government to calculate taxes also. Therefore, this shifting cultivation was banned by the government. And as a result, lots of these forest people were forcibly displaced from their homes. Many of them had to change their occupation, and some people started revolts also. So, this was the result of new forest laws. Another impact, or we can say the another area which was affected by the new forest laws was hunting. Hunting was also affected by the new forest laws. Actually, before the new forest laws, forest people, they used to hunt small animals, and that hunting of small animals was also a source of their livelihood. But when new forest laws were made, forest property was completely under the control of colonial government. This customary practice was also banned by the government. And those who were caught hunting were now punished. It means hunting of those small animals became a legal offense. On the other hand, British officers hunting became a sport. Means Indian poor forest people, now they could not hunt small animals. On the other hand, British officers were allowed to hunt large animals. Hunting of those large animals by the British people, that was a sport. But poor people hunt the small animals to earn their livelihood, or for their to meet their daily requirements. It was a crime. For that they were punished. And British people were hunting those large animals, and that hunting increased to such an extent that various species became almost extinct. It was a great thing. It was a great sport. By hunting those dangerous wild animals, they were showing that these animals are a sign of wild, primitive, savage Indian society. Means those animals was the symbol of Indian society, and by killing those animals, they were showing that they can control Indian people like this. They believed that by killing dangerous animals, the British people would civilize India. So they were trying to create a fear in the heart of the poor village people. But it was converted into a revolt. People started hating them. Another effect of new forest laws was that new trades, new employments, and new services came in the lives of the people. But always new opportunities does not mean a good time is going to start. It is not like that. New opportunities are coming. So the main thing is that for whom those opportunities are coming. When forest laws were made, forests were completely under the control of the British government. Poor people were forcibly, they were forced to leave their homes. They were forced to adopt the occupations which they could not do. So new trades, new employments and new services also came. And especially new trades came in forest products. But all these opportunities, all these services, all these employments were in the favor of the people, those who were close to the British people. For those companies, those European companies. For their companies, for their people or the people, those who were close to them. Nothing was for the poor village people. In our country, British government had a full control over the forests. So they gave the sole right to their own European companies in the trade of forest products. But the condition of the poor people of the village, that was same, or it was going day by day, it was growing worse. And now their anger was also growing. Hunting was banned, grazing was banned, or collecting or gathering the forest products, that was also stopped. Now they could not enter the forest. Shifting cultivation was also banned. It became very difficult for the people how they could survive. Because of all these restrictions, many nomadic and pastoralist communities lost their livelihoods, and it resulted into great rebels, especially Bastar revolt. So, what was that Bastar revolt that I am going to explain? Bastar. It is the name of a place. It is located in the southernmost part of Chhattisgarh. When colonial government proposed to secure 2/3 of the forest produce, the people of Bastar were very much worried. Already I have explained that 3 categories of the forest and one was reserve forest. So 2/3 portion was declared as reserve forest, and in that reserve forest, not even a single village people could enter, and nobody was allowed to take any product from that forest. Then they began to gather and discuss their issues in their villages, village councils, bazaars and other public places. They started discussing. Now the problems were growing day by day. Their condition was growing worse. So how they will survive in the future? The initiative was taken by Dhurwas of Kangar Forest, where reservation took place first. Means the place where reservation was took first, it was the place where revolt started. British sent troops to suppress the rebellion, and when these revolts were started, at that time British government used forces. The Adivasi leader tried to negotiate, but British surrounded their camps and fired upon them. And this also increased their anger, their hatred. But finally, rebellions got victory. They were ready to die. That is why they got victory. And work on reservation was temporarily suspended. And the area to be reserved was reduced to roughly half of the plan before 1910. Means more than 50% land of the forest was going to be declared as reserve forest. So this was immediately stopped. Now more than 50% land was immediately left by the government, and that reservation was temporarily suspended. So this was a great relief for the people, and after this revolt, after sacrificing the life of thousands of people, they got this victory. So that's all for this second part, my dear students. You all can prepare your notes on the basis of these topics which we have already discussed in the first as well as second part. So we will meet in the next part. Till then, bye bye. Take care.